The Vasari come with war before them and terror behind. This is Sins of a Solar Empire 2. The Vasari were once the rulers of a vast and ancient empire, spanning countless worlds, maintained through peaceful subjugation or harsh enslavement as required. Their empire collapsed 10,000 years ago when a mysterious and unstoppable force began consuming their colonies, including their homeworld. Fleeing from this unknown threat, the Vasari became a desperate nomadic race, constantly on the move, surviving by conquering, exploiting, and then abandoning star systems in their drive ever forwards. Their journey eventually brought them into conflict with the Trade Order, the precursor of the TEC, and shortly afterwards the psionically gifted Advent entered the conflict too, leading to a prolonged and brutal war. Faced with a powerful and organised new set of adversaries, the Vasari advance stalled and internal divisions split them into two factions with radically different ideas. The Vasari Exodus, continuing the old strategy of evacuate, siphon, run, believed in prioritising survival by fleeing from their ancient enemy. By contrast, the Vasari Alliance sought to cooperate with the TEC and the Advent in the face of the coming threat. The Vasari's impressive scientific advancements, particularly in phase-space manipulation and nanotechnology, makes them a formidable force, yet their focus remains on escaping the destruction that once claimed their empire. Tapping into the mysteries of phase-space, the Vasari can build a series of orbital structures known as phase gates around their worlds. These are expensive projects to undertake and require a significant exotics investment to begin, but once complete, a friendly fleet may jump through phase space from that colony to any other friendly colony with a phase gate, anywhere in the solar system regardless of distance. Once the Vasari have unlocked the phase gate technology and built them throughout their empire, they gain an unparalleled strategic manoeuvrability, rapidly crossing vast distances that would cost their rivals many phase lane jumps and a long time to achieve. The Vasari can eventually develop phase-space detection sensors light years ahead of the crude contraptions of their rivals. By the endgame, they can detect any ship moving anywhere in phase space they have explored on the game map. This grants them an enormous information advantage over their enemies, with all interstellar transit traffic laid bare for them to see. What's more, the Vasari have access to 3 special phase resonance abilities, which can grant them increased performance in the moments after exiting phase space into a gravity well, and can be upgraded to further maximise performance in each area of speciality. Resonance is a Vasari-specific resource generated by the construction of the Special Phase Resonator orbital structure, with resonators built closer to a star generating more resonance points. These points can be spent on activating and upgrading 3 different phase resonance abilities: mobility, combat, and utility, granting increased tactical and strategic movement speed, performance in fleet battles, and the ability to regenerate antimatter for special ship abilities. A Vasari Empire fully utilising a strong phase resonance strategy will become a nightmare to deal with, dramatically boosting speed and combat performance as they enter a gravity well, and granting them faster travel through phase space between planets too. This power, along with their phase gate technology, makes the Vasari terrifying raiders who can quickly locate isolated colonies or fleets, jump in unexpectedly, do massive damage in a lightning attack, and then disappear as quickly as they arrived, leaving devastation in their wake. The Vasari Exodus largely stick to their initial strategy and aim to win the war quickly, strip the sector bare of resources, and then migrate onwards before their doom catches up with them. It is no surprise that they have developed a unique and brutally effective methodology to further this goal. The Debris Reclamation Center automatically harvests resources from destroyed ships in and around the gravity well of the planet it is built upon, feeding the detritus of war back into the Vasari war machine once more. The Exodus make great use of slave labour, pushing their poor subjects to their very limits to increase the planetary development speed and resource extraction rates with the upgradable labour camp planetary item. The dreaded Core Stripper is a horrifyingly efficient tool in their arsenal. Once this dreadful engine has been constructed, the Vasari can devastate the planet, permanently ruining it in exchange for a huge windfall of resources. With this terrifying tool of destruction, the Vasari Exodus can execute a brutal scorched earth campaign against their enemies, invading their planets and then stripping every last ounce of usable industrial resource, leaving nothing of value behind. The Vasari are used to their nomadic existence aboard giant colony vessels, and with some extensive research, they can unlock mobile rulership. This powerful unlock prevents the Exodus losing the game if their homeworld is destroyed, allowing them to continue the fight from a more mobile base of operations, perhaps to regain their homeworld or take the fight straight to the heart of their enemy instead. Finally, the Vasari Exodus can call upon the mighty Vastra Titan, their most powerful warship that dwarfs their largest capital ships by a long way, both in terms of size and sheer combat power. The Vastra can execute a short-range tactical phase jump for rapid manoeuvre across the battlefield, allowing it to quickly disengage from a combat once too much damage has been sustained, or penetrate a gap in the enemy formations and force its way through to their backlines to engage more vulnerable vessels such as middle ships and strikecraft carriers. Meanwhile, the Vasari Alliance espouse the wisdom of standing together in the face of an overwhelming threat, although they are still Vasari and well capable of bringing war to those who stand in their way. The Alliance Xeno Settlement and Xeno Embassy planetary items grant the Vasari Alliance a large influence boost, allowing them greater access to the powerful abilities and items offered by the minor factions. This is a marked difference from the Vasari Exodus, who don't get nearly so much access to influence as the Alliance do. In fact, with unparalleled access to influence generation, the Vasari Alliance have far more influence than anybody else in the game. This allows them to dominate their rivals to win auctions and quickly rise up the reputation tracks with the minor factions to purchase their best, most powerful boons. This translates into a dangerous capability, the potential to surprise their enemies with a huge range of special abilities and items purchased with influence. The Alliance can also build the intercultural exchange on settled worlds, setting up the first genuine diplomatic efforts between Vasari and the native populations they bring into their fold. This planetary item allows the Alliance to generate credits for their war efforts, and while they still rely mainly on metal and crystal for shipbuilding, credits are a valuable commodity for trade and diplomatic purposes. The Vasari Alliance may unlock many useful technologies. Xeno Defense places Vasari military advisors into the civilian population during times of war, reducing planetary bombing and structural damage. As an extension of the Vasari's mastery of nanotechnology, Nanomedicine Outreach grants a large planetary hit point regeneration bonus, allowing their planets to withstand and survive sieges for much longer than they would if unaided by this near magical technological know-how. All for One prevents a sudden loss of the game if the Vasari Alliance's homeworld falls, providing at least one allied player's homeworld is still in friendly hands. This could come in handy on some of the more dangerous orbiting planets maps. The Vasari Alliance field their own unique take on the largest of ship classes, the Culturas Titan. Bristling with heavy wave cannons, beams, heavy phase missiles and mass pulse PD turrets, the Culturas can also excel supporting your fleet's capital ships too. With Nano Leech, the Culturas can strip the armour, hull and antimatter from any ship around it, replenishing itself in the process. It can sacrifice some of its own health to regenerate one of its allies, while Gravity Pulse and Dissever either slow or destroy hostile vessels in a large area of effect, with the latter effect synergising with Nano Leech to do even more damage. Now let's take a look at how the Vasari fare in fleet battles. Fortunately for the TEC and Advent, the Vasari are not as numerous as their rivals, and their ships are often more expensive than those fielded by the other factions as a result. However, they are generally more powerful overall. 1-to-1, a Vasari ship will often have the advantage of a TEC or Advent counterpart, particularly once they have unlocked research into one of their faction specialities, exceptional shield and hull regeneration. The Vasari are masters of regeneration, and stripping their shields away is no guarantee of victory when facing a Vasari fleet. They have access to the usual shield improvement techs, but their real strength lies in powerful nanotechnology, which will quickly repair the superstructure of a ship even after all its armour is stripped away. Capital ships can even unlock self-repairing armour, meaning every hit point type available can be regenerated. Any flagship so equipped will become doggedly tough to put down. Perhaps the crowning glory of Vasari weapons technology is the phase missile, which has a chance to bypass enemy shields entirely, an effect that can be boosted by further research. This effect is particularly deadly to the Advent, who heavily lean on their own advanced shielding technology and forego armour as a result. All this ensures Vasari ships are very difficult to kill, and pack a punch far larger than their fleet strength might imply. This fact, coupled with their rapid mobility from both phase gates and phase resonance effects, ensures hit and run tactics from numerically inferior Vasari fleets can be crippling for their opponents, who will struggle to do enough lasting damage to cover their own losses, making a war of attrition a daunting prospect for any TEC or Advent warlord facing them down. And so, the Vasari are expert raiders as befits their nomadic ways, with the ability to appear almost out of nowhere, fighting on even footage with much larger fleets, cause crippling damage on infrastructure and steal resources in the process with their Tesseract raiders, and then be gone before their stunned foes can bring in a force large enough to overwhelm them. This tactic is utterly deadly when combined with the Vasari Exodus' core stripper, where a mere resource raid becomes a catastrophic, world-ending event for their hapless prey. Corvette and frigate losses can be quickly replaced by the Jusotra Fabricator cruiser, which can also reclaim enemy wrecks and quickly retrofit capital ships and Titans with new items in the field, without the usual construction speed penalty for being away from a shipyard. With this capability, Vasari fleets can operate out on campaign further and for much longer, without the need to maintain an uncontested logistical route for the replenishment of losses. Furthermore, with their excellent mobility, they can easily isolate and destroy routing fleets with abilities such as the Jarosul Evacuator's Gravity Warhead, which slows enemy ships and prevents them from phase jumping for a short time. Easy prey for a deadly finishing blow. The Vasari are not a numerous race, and their population dwindles as the war progresses. Because of this, they will not risk their people's lives unnecessarily, and so do not field fighters in strikecraft groups. They also lack area of effect weaponry until much later in the game, and their best dedicated point defense solution is the Sulcerac Corvette, which is itself vulnerable to area of effect attacks. This means that the Vasari can struggle when facing overwhelming numbers, particularly from enemy strikecraft and swarms of missiles. The Vasari may lack a numerical advantage in the war, but their highly advanced technological know-how and mastery of phase space gives them a supreme advantage over their foes. They are agile, powerful, and can hit from unexpected angles with little notice, facing down superior numbers with their highly specialised warships. Whether they push to crush all their rivals or ally and make a stand with them is up to you.